Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. There's another wrestling event that just took place, and I'm wearing Bullet Club because it's Chris Bay approved. But no, we're talking about the home of the Bullet Club, New Japan. Yes, we are Battle in the Valley take place. So you know what that means. We're here. It's me, the one AJ Anthony Jordan.
Double V, the Viceroy, verisimilitude. Me too, Nico Luro.
I'm Big Zone, as always in the zone.
Okay.
So-
Once again, and this is nothing against New Japan when I say this. I've even got New Japan World, and I was enduring it through Japanese commentary. I have not had a chance to finish this. So once again, Big Tone, you take the helm, my friend. We're swapping right now. And yeah, I'm just gonna ask you guys like thoughts. I know a lot of stuff happened between Wrestle Kingdom and New Year's Dash, and it seems like the flow just kept on flowing Battle in the Valley. So guys, take it away.
Well, we're free for free here. Like New Japan is off to a roaring start for their 2024. They've done the business, and again, once again, this is a show that wrestling aficionados need to like check out because there's just nothing but fire up and down that card, from the pre-show to the main event. Yeah, the main event, which is again one of those matches that you can look around and say that's one of the best matches you've seen. Like up and down the card, it's just been absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, man, to the surprises, both in terms of results, and some of the results really did surprise me. I'm not going to lie. The surprise results to some of the surprise appearances, Mustafa Ali looking at you, Matt Riddle making his debut, production botches, which were very funny. Poor New Japan. I felt so bad for them for that. But top to bottom, every year I say this, it's like I'll watch Wrestle Kingdom and it's like, oh yeah, I really like New Japan, don't I? Then I'll watch the following few pay-per-views and then I, end up kind of falling into AJ territory of this too much freaking wrestling, and we also run a movie YouTube channel, which makes it hard to consume everything. And inadvertently, New Japan falls by the wayside. But I'll be real with you. In the year 2024 of our father, and I'm not even a religious man, I have watched a lot more New Japan than I have any of the other big promos.
Interesting. Look, I mean, the thing that I liked is New Japan aren't known for weekly TV, and I think that's what can help in losing track of what comes up. But when they do hit, they hit hard. That's something that's known throughout. And again, something you said on our last show, Big Tone, talking New Japan, was you told everyone tune into New Year's Dash. It was something, and the fact that now that they are in the States, we're going to get this Battle in the Valley, which might be a trifecta for January. It's enough to make you want to pay attention. And look, I'm not going to lie, the ministry are now New Japan Global, so I'm sure we'll be getting alerts as to what's coming up and be a bit more in tune. Not guaranteed, but we're trying to be as deep as we can for 2024. So yeah, this is something. So I can see an ongoing story going on. Bullet Club being one of it, with good old David Finlay at the helm. Look, Nick Nemeth is a thing. Mustafa Ali. I'm going to keep a certain potentially AEW star to the end because I think that's a good topic.
Okay. I will talk about that this year then.
Yeah, no, because I'm not. I don't know which way they're playing this, so I think that's a nice topic which can be cut and then made into its own little.
You've got me very confused.
Luchasaurus' ex-tag partner.
Oh, yes, that was fun.
Yeah, before he was Killswitch, he was Luchasaurus and he was hanging with Tarzan. Right, there we go. You get me. But yeah, so I'm just going to ask you both. Before we go into match, and obviously we know the more familiar faces, was there any particular standout stars, whether it was on the pre-show, in the main show, anyone that stuck out to you like, oh, that's a face I wasn't familiar with, or they really impressed me on this night?
Not for me, just because the match card wasn't really made up of people who I wasn't familiar with. For instance, looking at New Year's Dash, there were faces there that I didn't know. Like I mentioned, Bone Soldier. I had no idea who he was. Now I'm like, geez, this guy can go. So from the last 3 pay-per-views, Bone Soldier would be my guy. But from the way Big Tone describes him, it sounds like I'm, as a New Japan follower, and a very minority of people who probably don't know who he is, which, I'm learning. He's brilliant, but on this particular pay-per-view, there wasn't anything new, so to speak, that I was like, other than like, oh yeah, Matt Riddle, really, really good wrestler. You forget it when he's being buried under the levels of silly firework goodness that the Americans love so much. But then when
You
you
mean
see,
the doves weren't there?
sorry,
The doves, there was no doves.
nope, no doves.
There's no doves,
no
there's no elephants, there's no drafts. There was
But
none.
here's the mad thing: Matt Riddle was forever presented in the Fed as, you know, this a team of Arcade Bro before, which was great. I loved Arcade Bro. Before that, it was very much kind of him trying to put the word bro onto any single word that he could, and they were burying the character. Let's remember when he made his debut coming up from NXT, and he beat AJ Styles on SmackDown in his opening match. Kurt Angle said, "This guy is the new me. Y'all are trying to find the next me. He's the new me." Kurt Angle came out and said that. And through poor booking, Matt Riddle kind of became almost bro. He became a bit too much of a caricature. The bro is a huge part of his ring persona. I get that. But that's all he became. You know, that rivalry he had with Seth, storyline wise, he kind of should have won that. Buried to blue hell. And then you see him in a match with Zack Sabre Jr. and you're like, we all know how good Zack Sabre Jr. is. He's one of those guys like an AJ Styles or a Seth Rollins or an Omega that could wrestle a broom and make it look good, right? We know that. But man, Matt Riddle held his own with Zack. So of all the surprises, it was the surprise of remembering just how freaking good Matt Riddle is in the ring.
Well, let me tell you
also your
something.
match
You're
of the
going to
night?
get that same treatment. You're going to get that same treatment for a lot of people. I can't wait to see what Nick Nemeth does. I can't wait to see what Mustafa Ali does, because now, like, the chains are off. They're not restricted, and they can go all out and show that they are truly some of the best wrestlers in the world. One thing about Matt Riddle, though, which I was slightly disappointed, I wanted him to come back out to regulate. He has a sort of remixed version before he was in WWE, and that was his theme. I was hoping they'll do it again, but then, licensing. So that's probably not going to happen.
Well, don't discount MLW though.
Yeah, all right, maybe in MLW, maybe, but not in New Japan. I'll tell you what did surprise me though, because maybe I just hadn't really sat down and watched the match fully intently before, was the women's match between Gilia and Trisha Dora.
Okay, can I be honest? This was my first. I never take any wrestling match at face value, right? Because if I did that, then Asuka would be dead to me. Because let's be real, her debut on WWE was trash. Emma out wrestled her. I'd never watched her crazy run on NXT. All I had was a certain raucous man being a massive NXT mark and telling me about how great she is. And then you have to appreciate it from my point of view. My first showing of her was against Emma. I'm a massive Asuka fan now, obviously. But that first match against Emma, nerves, whatever they may be, she was terrible. I don't think you can say otherwise. That was not
Main
a good
event
showing
Asuka wasn't even though she was still undefeated, it was like handed victories. I'll agree with you. It wasn't
as a guy who watched that match,
the Empress of Tomorrow of NXT.
But I didn't know about the gimmick or anything. All I knew is this girl's gone undefeated, and then I'm looking at this match going, "How?" So you can't ever judge a book by its initial page. Julia didn't wow me for all the hype that a lot of, and I know she's an NWA girl also, but for a lot of the hype that a lot of the outlets, the big outlets like your What Cultures are doing, like, oh, she's going to sign to WWE and she's going to set the world afire. I'm like, nah, just based off of that match.
It's surprising that you say that, because I mean, I actually was impressed by her. Maybe it's because I didn't have the hype behind it like you did. Yeah, so I was just watching the match at face value for the two ladies on the screen doing their thing. So more than that, I was actually probably impressed by Trisha Dora, because I don't know her. Yeah, and I haven't heard of her. Seen her wrestle for the first
Trisha
time.
Dora, I really like. She impressed me.
I like what she was doing. I liked the match and I liked their stuff. And to be honest, New Japan can do with showcasing their women's division a bit more. I think as New Japan Strong gets bigger and better, they will be doing that.
Yeah.
So would you say that was your match of the? Well, that was your standout stars, Big Tone. That's nice, guys.
Stand
Match of the night.
No, definitely not match of the night. Come on.
No. I said no. I'm now asking for match of the night. I said those are your standout stars. I didn't like unseen stars to like keep an eye out on. Nothing more. Don't worry. I'm not putting you in that box there. But match of the night for both of you.
Okay, so match of the night. It's gotta be the main event, really, isn't it? Like we're talking about another all-time classic between two of the best in the world. Like you can't really get much more better than that. Like there was some other matches that I was actually very impressed by. Much to Nico's chagrin, his favorite man, Gabe Kidd and Eddie, like they like had a great fight, man. I really enjoyed.
Let's just be
what
very
they was
clear
doing. It
about
was
this.
brutal.
Gabe Kidd hit me in
Um,
public. He's owed a receipt.
Can you not see it as Gabe Kidd involved you in the storyline?
Sure, so let me be involved.
I mean, hopefully he's going to be at the meet and greet before his match with Shingo, and you can ask him, like, "Hey, can we?" But
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Asking for a little one-on-one time.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. The
Okay.
Bullet Club in me and the non-Eddie Kingston fan in me was very happy by that result. I'm not going to lie.
Eddie had him beat dead on arrival, to be honest.
Oh, was it one of those?
Yeah, but then like the aftermath as well was hilarious for me. I like what the War Dogs Bullet Club are doing. They're heels, man. They're not cool. They just hate to despise despicable heels doing despicable things. And that's what it should be. That's how they are gonna rise through the ranks. That's how people are taking notice of them. Yeah, for all like you dislike Gabe Kidd, you know his name, and I said it like 100 times throughout the last few shows, isn't it? Yeah, so they're obviously doing something right.
Do you know what? I've got to give him props. Yeah, I knew he was Bullet Club before Uprising. Yeah, just because I had to do this kind of. Well, it was a Raw Osprey comment like, "You might be Bullet Club." Da 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 da. But from Uprising to today, that name is not light. Like it comes up every other day. Like he's doing all right for himself. So watch this space. I feel when it comes to Gabe Kidd.
I hope not.
Oh man. All right. So what about David Finlay versus TJP? I told you, man, TJP, like that's gonna be the United Empire's new leader, man.
Not convinced.
You don't think?
Not
Jeff
about
Cobb,
the match. I really liked the match. That was one of the matches that surprised me. I actually thought TJP was going to get the win here. I'm not convinced he's the new leader. Did you see what Jeff Cobb did to Matt Riddle at the end of their match?
Well,
That's
I was going to say, would Riddle not be
that was
that
tactical. I could very easily see Matt Riddle at the head of United Empire.
It would be a good pick. However, it does sort of brush aside everyone that's been there. So it's a kind of 50-50 thing. But I guess Bullet Club did do the same thing with AJ Styles coming in. So if you got
AJ,
a big star,
Kenny, Finlay, like
yeah, if you got a big star with a recognizable name, you might as well put it to good use. And that would be an excellent addition. That'd be an excellent.
Jeff Cobb took the knee, man. I'm just saying, Cobb took the knee on him. And Riddle gave him the sign back. I was like, let me think.
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
But in fairness to both of you, Riddle is actually signed to MLW now. I don't know what the New Japan MLW relationship is. I'm not saying it's weak because he's obviously there. But can he? It depends. I was going to say, can he be a prominent face enough to be the face of it? Guys are flying back and forth nowadays, so I don't know. It's
the New Japan contractual scene with all their stars being so fluid. I think there's huge scope to do a lot of things. You know, when you consider that, okay, it didn't carry over directly, but the fact that that beef between Kid and Osprey from Rev Pro ended up on, that's being continued in New Japan. The fact that Osprey was attacked by Jericho at Rev Pro and that spilled into All Out at Wembley. There's definitely, outside of the Fed, there's definitely synergy between the other major companies and the more indie companies. They do seem to work together. And I feel like the wrestlers want to do that, and they should be allowed to do that. They're independent contractors.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, wrestling these days is a multiverse, even though multiverse is supposed to be lame. This one isn't. And there's a lot of good crossover, yeah. And there's a lot of stars that we're seeing. And it feels so surreal seeing somebody that we literally just watched British wrestling. And then to watch them interact with some of the biggest American stars like that we've known.
It's mad, isn't it?
And then some of the greatest international Japanese like legends as well, all in the same show. It's a great melting pot, yeah, of excellent exhibition of wrestling, man. And I'm just so happy with the time, yeah, that we're in. What a time!
It's wonderful. It is really wonderful, and that's something that I felt with TNA and New Japan a lot more than I felt with the two big boys of WWE and AEW is this multiverse element you're talking about. It makes you feel as a fan more involved with these companies when you get to see the stars that close and personal on these smaller stages and then follow them through to the bigger. It's special. But AJ, going back to your question of match of the night, Big Tone, this may shock you. Ospreay Okada was not my match of the night.
Was it?
No, it won't shock me because I'm thinking, like, let me hear what you're going to say because I might be on the same page as well.
So the problem Ospreay Okada had was that it's become a little bit law of diminishing returns because these guys just don't do bad matches. This is what you call grading on a curve in like a positive way, right? It's like they've set the standard for themselves so high that even when they hit that high standard, you're like, well, yeah, it's just a standard Ospreay Okada match. When in fact you should be like, oh my god, that was one of the best. Like Big Tone was doing. It's, oh my god, that was one of the best matches I've seen.
I still mark out for it. Like, come on, that sequence
Incredible.
when we'll hit the Rainmaker. Dude. And then like it got reversed into like Okada's Rainmaker. Crazy.
But it was art. It was art what those two were doing. Let's be very clear. I'm not talking about grading on a curve like when I'm firing shots at the Fed. I'm talking about grading on a curve, acknowledging the body of work that these two have is so good that it's in the scope of that body of work. Another Ospreay Okada match has just become another Ospreay Okada match. It's lost that element of being special. As an isolated match, it was freaking incredible. But in the scope of their body of work, it's like, well, I know you two can do
run of the mill. It became run of the mill, right?
I mean, that feels a bit
run of the mill in a very, very specific bracket of greatness.
Like,
yes,
I see where you guys are coming from because yes, like excellent is excellent. If you like just have gold bars all the time, it's just going to be a regular gold bar, isn't it?
And that's what I mean. It's the law of diminishing returns. You can have the best ice cream in the world every single day, but if you eat it every day, it just becomes ice cream.
100%.
You know? Because you've got nothing to contrast it against. You know, if they'd had a really bad match, arguably that would have been a bigger talking point. It's like, how did that
happen there?
Yeah. You know, that would have. My match of the night, bro, was Shingo and Mox.
Yep, see, like that,
I was going to ask about that match because
Shingo
is in town soon, and I really wanted to know what that's going to be. Yeah,
I was so impressed with Shingo. I can't tell you.
Yeah, like look, that's the match you're going with. Like I said, I cannot disagree with that any at all because again, or through Ospreay's send off in it because it was a send off single match. Yeah, it was great. Shingo, man, showed me something. And Max, like again, it's about having a flip switched off, isn't it? Yeah, he can do certain things and that he might not be able to do on other shows. But like here, he's got different music. He's the Death Rider itself.
He's mentally.
That was
and
a crazy.
This is a guy who did that Texas Death Match with Hangman Page. You know, he's done some crazy matches in AEW. But what Moxley's done something very interesting for the last few years. There's an argument to be made that he was at the right place at the right time while there were other factors going on that he didn't necessarily take advantage of, but he was able to slide into that role. You know, like when Punk got injured and he had to step in, or like when they needed someone to, you know, be the top guy after Punk left and he once again stepped in, or kind of even when he doesn't have a title, being not a final boss of wrestling the way a Roman or an Okada or a Danielson is.
He's a gatekeeper.
Exactly. He's very much worked his way into having to reinvent himself from being Dean Ambrose and having to solidify himself as, no, I am actually a bona fide wrestler, then having, you know, his personal problems and having to come back again, be a champion again for the feel-good moment. But then off the back of that, where does he fit in? Does he just get lost in the noise? And he's very, very cleverly gone about making himself kind of like a Matt Cardona, this indie monster who happens to be one of the final gatekeepers for the young bloods to go through. And in this case, even not the young bloods, just guys plying their teeth on something new. And I'm really like, a few years ago, I wasn't high on Mox. He's won me over so much. I'm really a big Moxley guy now. I'm really impressed with him. Is he a bit of a meme unto himself? Like, by the way, Moxley's bleeding. Yeah, sure. Yes, of course. But you can't look at the guy's work in the last 18 to 24 months and pick out a bad match, really.
Well,
I know you'd probably
Mox
pull
is,
for Stadium Stampede, AJ, but I really enjoyed it. So
I had seen that spot. I think the spot happened before in New Japan, so I saw it twice. And Stadium Stampede itself, I think if you watch Stadium Stampede on TV, is a lot better than Stadium Stampede live. That's just a personal call.
Yeah, that's
because
the cool.
the camera and you see the spots. So per se, were the performers bad? No, I was just upset that no one came into our section, and I'm trying to figure out where do I go. And you know, I'm seeing Eddie Kingston like 2 seconds away from Mercedes Moné, and I'm like, come on, guys! Like, you just don't know where to look, and that's what kind of bugged me with it. Whereas if you're watching it on TV, you feel like you're missing out, but they know the spots to follow where we didn't know where to look. That was my beef with it.
Fair enough. But like to your point, Nico, Mox for me, the closest analogy I can make really is he is like what like Seth Rollins is to basically the rest of the industry. Yeah.
yes,
Just that very, very, very elite guy that you can always depend on and you can always go to, slide him into the main event, make him your world champion, make him be like in the main event of the biggest show if you want, because you can do it all. And then, like, you know, sliding back down to like elevate someone else, elevate another title. Again, like, you know, you talk about Seth and the US title, it's Moxie and the international title, even though that flopped because of injury. The idea behind it was for him to bring up the title so it could main event a pay-per-view. How it main evented the pay-per-view before the TNT title due to Mox. So Mox is that guy that you can always use. I said stable hand. He's like the elite of the stable hands.
he really is. He really is. You know, when people tell me that we are getting to a stage now where the prospect of all elite wrestling without the elite could become a more and more real thing, you know, Kenny said is reportedly being quite hurt easily again, and you know he's got his diverticulitis now. We don't know what's happening with that, or if or when he'll be back. You know, the Young Bucks look like they're coming into the autumn of their careers. You know, I hope Kenny will be back for Wembley and we get the singles match that we all should have got last year, even though I loved his match. There's still things for Kenny to do in wrestling. Do more New Japan stuff, of course. Do another Okada series. Have another set with Danielson. Like, he's still got bits to do. In a weird way, I'd be interested, scared as hell, but interested to see what he does in WWE if he ever went there, because he could be the equivalent of a Seth Rollins. He's got all the skill in the world to do that. Whether they ever push him to that level, probably not. But that's them. That's their loss.
Hunter, I don't think would be as bad. I think now's a chance.
Not as bad, but he wouldn't give him his dues, I think.
I don't know. I mean, we'll have to
we
see.
don't know. The fact is, we don't know.
But I did think they was going to do that to AJ Styles when he came, and for a while it really did look like it. But now,
exception, not example. But look at AJ recently.
It's an exception. It's not the rule. But again, he is a staple. So maybe Kenny coming in, they recognize who they're bringing in.
Maybe.
And they would like, you know, treat him as such, really. I reckon if any of their big guys cross over, such as an MJF going to WWE, they're not going to be coming in to like go in at the bottom. Yeah, they're going to be coming
in. Well, I'm so scared about what would happen with that. But circling back, the main point of what I was making with regards to, you know, seeing an all elite wrestling without the elite is very much saying, yeah, but you got Mox. And you're now going to have Will Ospreay, and you've got a new generation of elite. Like you could very easily, and AJ, you're proven to be good at, you know, booking on the fly and stuff. You could very easily structure storylines and make this elite thing more than just the core guys. It can be something like a torch that's passed down. It can be a group that expands. It can be something that gets passed on to the next generation of this is now your elite in All Elite Wrestling, the new elite, Elite 2030. It doesn't have to be a one-time thing. If you wanted to keep an elite stable in All Elite Wrestling, you could do it. Put Mox
with gradual progression. You could, if you are looking for a quick AJ fantasy book, it would be for Kenny to get dethroned by Will, with the Bucks taking his side, and this is the new elite. With that title in itself, the elite.
But I'm saying without Kenny and the Bucks, no Kenny and Bucks in a world where
no. But you start off with that. You start off
we'd
with
like to start off. So
you need for it to still be elite of some nature. You will still need some of the group there. Kenny be in a position where we don't know if he can continue. Have the Bucks align with Will. Will's now the new leader of the elite. With that, the swap and change then comes over that he's got it. A couple of months down the line, they announce a retirement. They bring in a new other guy who's in there. You kick the Bucks out before you, and that's how you build it. But I think that would be my initial first way. Have Will take over.
Yeah, first wave. Love that. And you could work to have Mox in there, and that could be like a big Hogan-like moment, like a big they got him. There's plenty of things you can do to keep that name going past Kenny and the Bucks and Hangman. And, they're solidified for years. And the way you label Mox Big Tone is exactly that. He is like the elite gatekeeper. Like I don't know anyone else in the wrestling world who's doing what he's doing at the moment. He's making a damn good argument to be my wrestler of the year with what he's doing, because he's everywhere and he keeps on putting on great matches, and he's shown that he can be face, heel, violent, technical. He's really quite brilliant.
Just another one, just because I saw him live. Volador Jr.'s match. What was that saying? The tag match.
Oh yeah, man. Well, it's again
fine.
These multi like like tag matches in New Japan are always crazy. And again, there's a lot of tagging in, a lot of tagging out, and it's just starts off. It's a methodical build, isn't it? Like starts off a little slow, but then by the end it's just like bam, 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 and this was no different. Again, excellent showing. It's not like I could turn around and say, this wasn't for me. No, it was great.
Cool. Well, look, for familiarity, it's a bit weirder. I don't want to disrespect Fred Rosser and everyone else who was on the card, but that's that. But now we're going to go into, because we were talking very much All Elite.
Just before you do,
okay, go.
I do want to say that what they've done by setting up Windy City Riot, super hyped for that card.
Okay.
First cage match in New Japan in 20 years. That between United Empire and Bullet Club.
World's
so
last
hyped.
match.
So hyped. I think it should be that's when they're probably going to do Matt Riddle against Hiroshi Tanahashi. That's the rumor anyway. That's going to be on that card. Mustafa Ali versus Hiromu Takahashi is meant to be on that card. David Finlay versus Nick Nemeth is on that card. Like, it's stacked.
That's a pretty good card already, man. Without the card being complete,
it's stacked.
Well,
the big rumor is that Suzuki's coming back.
I already know how that's going to end.
What's that so big time?
I already know how the Nick Nemeth match is going to end. Like,
it's
not going to go straight finish. There's going to be 100 members of the Bullet Club screwing Nick out of the win.
And that's when United Empire come out to help, because he wore a white shirt, no?
And a tie.
Yeah, there we are.
You're still going on about that, huh? Damn. Yeah.
Do you know the funny thing is? We are taking the absolute Mickey Mouse right now.
Yeah, but you might be right.
Let it happen, and we'll be like...
Hold up. What do you feel about his one? If you go with the United Empire saving him, what do you feel about Nick Nemeth being the new leader of United Empire? Because remember, I posted you on the last show we did that I had a worry about Nick Nemeth since we're speaking about him, because he's destined to lose his next two matches. He ain't beating Moose for the title, and he ain't beating Finlay for the title, and yet he finds himself in two title matches. So he still needs to, after having suffered two losses, which he will, he needs to still be looking big, because he's not bulletproof, Nick Nemeth.
Those losses
Okay,
aren't going to be
here's the
straight.
thing.
They're
He
not going
can
to be
very much
clean.
fall into Dolph Ziggler territory really quickly.
Yeah.
He's got a match against Cardona, which I think he will win in GCW. That was announced recently. I don't know if it's out. Here's the thing. Is it out of the question for him to win a title in either company? Especially TNA. Like, I'm all for Moose and I'm all for the system. Don't get me wrong. But
You see him beating Moose?
That could be it.
Yeah, but not
It feels a bit
now.
quick.
Like 3 months later, maybe.
He'd have to get screwed. He's going to get screwed. He's going to get screwed by Moose. The system are going to screw. He's not going to win it straight away. That's a fact. He's going to get screwed. It's not a clean loss. But conversely, the global title isn't the New Japan title. He can very easily take that title and run a mid-card for New Japan.
Basically, the question I'm asking is, what you're saying is correct, but I guess the question what I'm asking is, in the realm of reality, I think he's destined to lose both matches. So on the back of that, whether he could or couldn't run a mid-card or even become an IWGP champion, I don't disagree with that. I could very easily see Nick Nemeth taking on freaking Tetsuya Naito in a few months and becoming IWGP champion without any difficulty whatsoever. But immediately following what I believe are going to be 2 losses for 2 titles in 2 different companies, what do you do with Nick Nemeth? Do you put him as the leader of United Empire?
Does the title have to go on the line in New Japan?
Doesn't have to, but it will.
Because the 2 losses would be a bit weak. I don't know.
And
I mean, again, if you look at the way TNA brand him, and I don't want to talk the other company while being focused on New Japan, the tagline is most wanted man. Like, that's who he is. Can he then go into, I don't want to call it that way, Dolph territory of just being a guy putting others over straight away? It doesn't ring right.
I don't see this happening. I just see basically he's going to come in, and yes, he's not going to win that match, but he's not going to be like buried or just straight up pinned like by either Finley or Moose.
So this is my question. What do you see happening to him?
There's going to be a lot of people just attacking him. And as you say, Nico, yes, he might form new alliances to combat whoever he's fighting in these groups, whether that is in TNA or whether that is in New Japan. Like, there's going to be something for him because he's coming in, I reckon, to be a top guy. We talk about their surprise. That was the big surprise. You'll never believe who shows up. It was Nick Nemeth. So TNA are putting their hitches on him. He'll be champion by the end of the year in both companies. Maybe not world champion.
I'd listen to that.
Companies, but like definitely have gold. Yeah,
I'd listen to that 100%.
One thing, like you said, like because you mentioned the champion and Naito's next challenger, and we missed it underneath all of the Max praise. Did you hear what Max said? Going for the IWGP title this year. Like, he wants Tetsuya Naito.
Oh, that. Yeah. No, I did hear him say that, but he's not beating Naito.
Oh, never.
Not that clear cut.
No, I'll tell you why I say that, right? Because Forbidden Door is Forbidden Door, and I don't want to give a spoiler into any of the predictions I make on the early show. You will not see those titles switch. Because it's the staples of it. And I don't know.
He ain't fighting Naito at Forbidden Door, mate.
I know, but what I'm getting at is taking the title and giving it. I know Kenny done it, but I don't see anyone else doing it after that. There's a lot of history in that. I personally don't agree in a title being held by an outsider. You can if you're contracted to one but appear on another, it's not for me. I know
IWGP champion has to be a New Japan guy.
Yeah,
it has to be.
Yeah. Mid card you could do all day long. Never wait, open weight, or whatever it is that Eddie's holding. Do it all day long. It's up to you. Do what you want to do. You know, Will can bounce around everywhere with what it's called. And I'm not disrespecting Eddie when I say this. I'm saying the lowest.
You're a little bit, but that's fine.
No. I just can't remember the name of the title. I'm saying those titles.
New Japan strong open weight title.
There we are. Thank you. I still can't get it out. But what I'm getting at is you can do that with that. You could even take the global title, right, and bounce around different shows. You could see Nick Nemeth take that onto TNA. Those you can do. I feel both TNA and New Japan and probably AAA felt it when you had Kenny the Collector just walking around with everything, and it didn't really do the boost they wanted for their shows. I
Did the
personally would
boost for
protect those
TNA.
titles.
I tuned in
Yeah, but for how long?
until he lost it.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, look. I do think you're right, but there is an exception to every rule, and having Moxley as your champion, that's a great talking point. Yeah, no matter which company you are. So yeah, I don't think if he's gonna fight Naito in the next 3 months or so, he's definitely not winning. But if it's a longer thing, if it's a G1 at the end of the G1 climax, yeah, then he's calling his shot. Yeah, say if he's heading to Wrestle Kingdom next year to do it, then yeah, I could definitely see Moxley taking it.
I could see Mox winning the G1, Yeah, I think that's a damn good call. Mox winning the G1 this year. I can see that.
But I do think Naito is long overdue, his year-long run. They did it for
He ain't
Sonata.
getting a year
Why
run.
wouldn't they do it for Naito?
He ain't getting a year run, bro. I don't see that.
He's getting a good 6 months. I'm telling you, I will put money on that.
3 to 6.
6.
Based on the regularity of their card, that's not as hard as it sounds compared to other shows.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then again, some of
they just had a long reigning champ. Like Sonata held that belt for time.
Yeah, for pretty much like all of last year. That's what I'm saying. I don't see why they wouldn't do that for Naito as well. I mean, it's about who they have lined up for him as well. And there's a lot of people who I do want to see, Naito take on. And Mox, I'm hoping the Mox match isn't too soon because that's one of the more better opponents. So we'll see.
We'll see.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to bring up?
No, but you can put that whole section as what next for Nick Nemeth. That's a separate
hey, listen, Texans always are a winner. But now here's the one. The famous game, and I've not played this in a while. I can't remember what it was called.
What happens next?
Work or reality? Here we go. Yeah. Is it a work or reality? Jack Perry, in the middle of a ring, takes out the AEW, in the middle of a New Japan ring, takes his AEW contract, rips it, puts on his little scapegoat armband. I'm tempted to believe it's real in the fact that we don't know what happened. No, that he signed with New Japan. His contract may have expired. That could be a complete different thing. He might have signed with New Japan, and that's his new story. Nothing was ever said what happened to him. There was just a suspension. Like, has he? I don't think he's not been seen since All In, has he?
No,
that was his last thing.
Correct.
My problem is with the relationship that New Japan and AEW have. You're not going to be so rude to just rightfully just take a man's contract and rip it like that. It doesn't ring right. That's what tells me there's a work in it somewhere.
100%, man.
But what I'm saying is, are we going to see this guy back on AEW TV, or is this his new career?
Yeah, I mean, like, look, if you're asking me what this is, like that song from Fifth Harmony, "Work," that's all that is playing in my head right about now. Because yes, he has done that, but who knows what his contract said? Like, who knows if he even can go anywhere? Just tear it up and that be it. I very much doubt Tony Khan would allow that to happen. Yeah, like when you got people signing NDAs and all that. Yeah, I don't think he can just walk out and just rip up his contract. Plus, I think this is actually a setup, innit? Yeah, to like maybe Jack joining the Bullet Club. I think it'd be a good fitting.
Oh, nice, cool.
Yeah.
I was going to call that, but I needed to know where he sticks first.
Well, it might be actually a story, like a leading story going into Forbidden Door, because that would be a good thing to do, really. He actually had a poignant story this year, whereas a guy who's actually got beef with AEW is now on the other side, is coming in, and they can actually maybe do it like an invasion this year. Yeah, rather than just dream match after dream match. Actually have an ongoing story to it. So we'll see.
It's a bloody work. Come on.
So you
even
this is so right. It doesn't feel like the way to close the show.
Hang on. I only know this from, unfortunately, as I've said last time, we live in the era of the dirt sheet, right? From what I understand, they knew he was showing up.
Oh, all of that I'm not opposed to. I'm just saying, has he signed with New Japan?
No,
listen, we've had QT Marshall. He's still AEW.
No. Yeah, also, just go on Google and look at the size of an AEW contract. The shit's like that thick.
Oh,
It's not 2 pages.
No, bro, you're taking it metaphorically. I know it's not the actual AEW contract. That's symbolic. No, you got. Oh God, no, guys, please. The name's AJ, not Mark. I'm not that stupid.
We know.
It's real to me, damn it.
But let's actually take a moment to play fantasy in it, yeah, and say if that was real. Like if that was real, like that would have been one of the most epicest things I ever seen. Like a guy who's been suspended, yeah, he can't come back, so he just waltzes out onto another girl. Screw you, and like that's it. But obviously, reality is like Tony Khan is actually pretty smart for this, yeah.
Yeah, he's smart,
very smart, because again, he's got a problem with this guy. This guy is probably the main reason why A, your biggest star, you had to let go of him, and B, your biggest star is now in your rival promotion about to main event his biggest show. Jack Perry is one of the leading reasons for that. So either way,
I mean, Punk screwed Punk, but anyway.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But like, two to tango and all that. But you got this guy backstage. You want to bring him back somehow. And you don't just want to like insert him in. Oh, here's Jack Perry again, yeah. It will look weird. So what we're doing now is we're building his character. We're building anticipation for when he steps back through the doors in AEW. We're giving him a new character, something to do. And if he is Bullet Club, which I think will be an excellent fit, yeah, people are going to love him. People are going to want to see him back. And when he does come back, you'll be wanting him with open arms.
See, the new character thing is what I wanted to tap into, because I'll be the first to say I thought his heel turn was terrible. I'm very much Team AJ with this, and I think you're with us, Big Tone. I love Jungle Boy, the wrestler, Jack Perry, the wrestler, as he's known now. Jack Perry, the heel. I'm not saying he can't be a heel. I'm saying the heel gimmick that he went with, it was just old hack, cheap heat, and it was not working. To go from being super loved to being super hated, that's fine. But to go from being super loved to meh, you're fine. He became very, very whatever. It wasn't like, oh, he's a dastardly heel, I hate him. It was a kind of like, whatever. This, he's got real potential to give that heel thing another try. And I think stroke of genius putting the scapegoat armband on. I think if he can tap into that, they're onto something.
Can I be honest, though? I do believe the scapegoat's going to be a war dog. I think that's the way to really start grinding people's gears with it. And by association, he's going to wind you up real bad too.
No. Listen, it's not that deep. I just think
okay, Mister, he's your receipt. It's not that
deep. That's me working there. Yeah, the reality is that I was with Big Tone. He did clip me in the face.
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying
this happened. So, was he aiming for me? No. Does he know he's due a receipt? No. Do I still think he's a little mutt? Yes. He's literally, of the war dogs, he's the runt of the litter. Literally, that's how I see him.
I'm enjoying what you do, Game Kid, man. Like, keep it.
Listen, if you're enjoying it, that's good. I want him off my TV, and I suppose he's working me then, so job done.
Yeah, one more point.
So upset we're not front row. I'm so upset we're not front row for the next show because
he'll hear me. He'll hear me. He's gonna hear me.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to mention about Jack Perry. Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed that he isn't back in AEW already, because I wanted him for one particular storyline and one particular faction, and that is for him to join
the Patriarch.
That would have just been icing on the cake, man. That would have been hilarious.
How does that make sense?
But hold on, did Christian not aim for him already when it first started? Because I swear it was Nick Wayne, then Jungle Boy. I swear those were the first two.
No, Patriarchy.
I swear Jungle Boy was the second one.
Man, that come way after.
Jungle Boy was never part of the Patriarchy.
No, I'm saying Christian sent shots to him about Luke Perry.
Oh yes, 100%.
Oh yeah. He's one of the people that start talking about. But like, it would have been good to see them come back and team up. Hey, maybe we'll do it down the line.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's I like this work a lot, and I like the fact that even if it doesn't end up as Bullet Club, yes, can I see him as one of the War Dogs? Absolutely. Can I see him becoming another annoying little runt? Yes. But good. He needs that because at least he'll. I don't like to quote Logan Paul, but he does say something that makes a lot of sense. You know, it's like, I don't care if people hate me. I need the reaction. Yeah. Sting's noted for saying, if people aren't cheering me, they better be booing me. It's when you go out, like, what's her face? Who came out of that WWE live event 2 years ago holding the British flag? Aaliyah. And the crowd just went,
boo. Not even a boo.
No, there's no boo. It was silent.
Tumbleweed.
You didn't get a reaction. That is the worst position you can be in professional wrestling. And real talk, that's where Jungle Boy's heel character was last time. He was getting cheapy, like, your town sports team sucks, and you all turned on me. It's like, yes, Jack. We've for the guys who have never watched wrestling in their life, this will have freshness for a few weeks, not months, weeks. And for the majority of people who do watch wrestling on the regular, this is old hack, bro. You're getting lost. And I'm in a place where I want more for him. I want him to get that extreme reaction out of me. If he's not getting me going, whoa, 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 if I'm not getting that, I want to be able to hate him the way I hate Gabe Kidd.
You know, I do think that whole storyline could have been given a bit more time to marinate. We'll never know where they was going with it now.
What storyline? There was no storyline.
Yeah, they were trying something. Yeah, they were trying to.
Were they?
I'm not saying
What,
the
do you
real was
think
going to
that-
be good.
Really,
I'm
what
just
you're saying now?
that, like, they obviously had somewhere they was going, and now
Did they?
we'll never know where they was going.
Are we
What,
talking
the
about the
FTW?
over the FTW title?
Exactly.
What, like what? That was the end of it.
But here's the thing. I don't know what it was. Here's the thing, though. Would it have helped Jack Perry? I don't know. But I feel, and this is not me buying into where Tony Khan's at, and I don't want to go into AEW while being on New Japan, Jack Perry would have helped elevate Hook, storyline-wise. I'm not saying Hook needed it as a wrestler.
He did. He did a match at
Storyline-wise.
Wembley. Now he's fighting Samoa Joe. He did elevate him. He did great.
Storyline-wise, would have been more consistent than Tony Khan having to put out the tweet he did. But this is a New Japan show, not an AEW show. So
Yeah, but an AEW guy
That's the one
appeared on a
question
New
quickly.
Japan show, so it's
Yeah.
chill.
it's fine.
One question, like, for both of you. All right, we've seen a lot of names like pop up from other companies at the moment. What if, say, Jack Perry joined up with Mustafa Ali, joined up with Nick Nemeth, maybe his brother, joined up with Matt Riddle, and created a super group? Yeah, that sort of went between the companies. How would you feel about a group like that?
What,
No, I mean,
Retribution?
if we're fantasy booking here, and
Yeah,
not-
this is fantasy booking.
yeah, I love it. How can you not love it? You know, you put a group of talent and of that caliber together, and you say go and invade companies. I'm all over that. It sounds epic.
I would swap younger Nemeth for Cardona.
Why not?
But Nick wants Ryan around.
I get that. But
He can be around as well.
he can be. But I don't feel like he's been wronged in any way. Where the others have really got a story of I've been done dirty, left, right, and center.
Oh, so what they call it, the wrong uns?
No, Retribution.
I knew you were going to say that.
Why? Why?
And the entrance is this. How
Oh
that
gosh.
got booked
What names are they going to
is
make?
still
up
a
for each
mystery to me.
other? What would Matt Riddle call himself instead of Matt Riddle? Wheeljack? Jack
Oh,
off?
he's always going to be Matt Riddle already.
New Jack.
Oh, you're taking. I get where you're going now.
Because everyone become Mace, T-Bar.
He'll be Brojack. The paper plate from catering with a few slices in there to be a mask.
Oh,
Anyway.
this is just painful. The fact that we're able to make jokes about this is actually, in a weird way, it makes me angry because it's just like the talent that these guys have, and they were
I
put
know,
into
it was
light
sad.
flicking. It's like, what the hell were you
is sad.
thinking?
The burial of so many people, but hey.
Oh,
Bright, and this is why, and I say this hand on heart, sometimes releases are not bad. okay? Because bigger and better things are due to a lot of people right now.
On our last show, we named the names, innit, that like either left or got released. Like Drew Galloway, yeah, he did the business on the indie scene and in Impact Wrestling, and come back and wrestle main event WrestleMania. And like I know you guys might not have seen it, but his promos on Raw through the last couple of weeks, man.
I've seen them.
Drew is that guy.
For me, he out promoted Punk. For me.
Hey, look, I'm not gonna disagree with that. And again,
I don't think he was playing with Cody this week either.
No, exactly.
I haven't seen this week,
Although Cody, man, Cody is that guy at the moment. You got the better of him, but still, it was good, and it shows that certain mans are on like a different level, and Drew's definitely one of them.
Yeah,
and his contract runs up right around Mania time.
Oh, he's signing again.
I know he's a company man, isn't he?
Well, I'm sorry, but the position he's in, they are spotlighting him every week.
Yeah,
and
he'd be stupid to leave right now.
He's going to get a title. He's going to get the title at some point in 2024. It might not be for long, but
I want him to. I have to say, do you know what? Of all of the big title runs in the last sort of 3 to 4 years, AJ's heard me say this before. Drew McIntyre has always been my favorite champion from the last 3 or 4 years. I loved his face run as the champion. I loved it.
Like being disrespecting New Japan. Seth, drop the freaking belt, man. This is why this belt was created.
Yeah.
There are so many people in line. Just
literally. Why this belt is being like, you tried to do the job of giving it to Seth to validate it. It's still the B belt. It's not validated. No one takes it seriously.
Listen, though, banger matches have taken place. Banger matches have taken place. They have.
I
but
like
it needs
Rollins. That's nothing to do with the belt. That's just Seth being Seth.
But I feel
again,
that
Seth being a champion has elevated his game, has elevated the shows. Like I said, it's nice that we get to see a champion on every pay-per-view.
Sure.
Yeah. And like,
do you see it as anything other than the B belt?
No, we still see it like that. But again, like that's just how it is now. Yeah. And like at least it's gonna go to WrestleMania and be in a marquee match. So
can I be real though?
We'll see.
Will you see it as here's an honest question. Again, not New Japan related. Once Roman drops the belt, will it be as much of a B belt?
Well,
I don't think it will be.
I do.
No, I don't, because again, like the whole thing of why it's invalidated is because of Roman's run and reign. You had to create that belt, because no one can beat
why
him.
it's the B belt. You've just hit the nail on the head, because you had to create it.
Yeah.
I get that.
After a while, once they start elevating
equal level playing field, I reckon. Once
Roman or not, that belt is tarnished.
Like, say, like if like this humor me for a minute. Say if you had Jinder Mahal as the champion on SmackDown and CM Punk on the champion of Raw with the B belt, which belt looks bigger at that point?
No, then I get to make jokes about how Jinder Mahal isn't holding the B belt. Then it's just funny.
By the way, again, Jinder, like we should be talking about other shows, but Jinder did excellent on Raw. That's it.
He was fantastic.
All right, guys, there is much more to discuss at a later date. We are going to keep it New Japan. We're going to show the respect that this show needed. Once again, I encourage anyone who's not fluent in Japanese to probably head on over to Fight TV, because that's where you can find English commentary for Battle in the Valley. It's still very Japanese on New Japan Global. But yeah, just sign up and check out Good Wrestling if you're willing to watch it on mute, because there's no subtitles either going on. But Good Wrestling is available. I haven't seen it yet, but these guys have gassed me. The socials have gassed me with what's going on there. So I do believe it's a good one. There's a few questions we have to ask. What's next for Jack Perry? Is he going back to Jungle Boy? Is he going to be a Bullet Club War Dog? Let us know. What's next for Nick Nemeth? I can never get that out. Let us know. We touched on some stuff for WWE. What are you excited about? Is it still the B belt? And feel free to comment on what you thought was the biggest match of Battle in the Valley, because you know what? It may not have been the no DQ match. And is Gabe Kidd the runt of the litter? How much are you willing to pay for Nico to give the receipt to Gabe Kidd? Tune in next week on the same ministry channel at the same ministry time. And until then, guys, I am the one AJ Anthony Jordan.
Double V, the Viceroy verisimilitude right here, Nico Laro.
And I'm Big Tone out the zone. Thank you for
Yeah,
watching.
We out,
there you go,
guys.
kid.
See ya.